Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I am Eric Edelmayer. Today we're going to be looking at some options for creating a curbless shower. Curbless showers are becoming one of the hot trends in the construction industry. They offer many design options and in most cases are not necessarily designed for wheelchair accessibility, but more for the cosmetic or a nice clean look. With that said, it is worth noting that today's webinar is not going to be specific to ADA requirements, as they may differ than just building a plain curbless shower. Obviously, some considerations are, what is the substrate that we are dealing with? Is it a wood framed? What are the joist spacing? 16, 19/2s, 24 inch? What is the length of the unsupported span? Is it a beam, sawn lumber, 8 inch, 10 inch, 12 inch? What are we dealing with? Does the deflection meet the industry guidelines of L360 or 720 for natural stone? Is the substrate flat, level? Are we dealing with a slab? Is the slab depressed? Are there certain requirements or locations that need to be met for the drain? What type of drain is it? A point drain, a linear drain, a clamping style drain? Maybe it's a bonding flange drain. What membrane are we going to be using? A 118.10 surface applied membrane or a PVC CPE type of shower pan liner? All of these need to be considered and coordinated to make sure that the design is going to work as it's planned. As always, this webinar is not a replacement for the written directions. It is recommended to consult with the building codes prior to starting any project. Today, we're going to be looking at wood frame construction. Let's join Dave Kennedy, who has got to jump on this installation. Hello, Dave.
Afternoon.
Looks like you got to start here. This looks like pretty much any residential job that we'd walk into with a plywood construction. And
Yep, correct. Yeah. So I have a mock-up of a 32 by 60 shower area, pretty standard.
Yep.
Especially when it's a top replacement.
Yep.
Okay. In this part of the segment, we're going to do an unrecessed shower basin installation.
Just dealing with what we have.
Just dealing with what we have, whether
Okay.
it's wood frame or concrete.
Okay.
As you can see, my wood frame construction, first of all, I'm going to check to make sure that my substrate is flat and level. Just put your level on it, straight edge, make sure that you're flat.
Yep.
If not, you'll have to fix it by using, say, leveling compounds or little things.
Much like installing a bathtub or anything else, it's got to be flat.
Got to be flat. Yep.
Yep.
So first of all, we're going to install the drain. So today we're going to be using our Noble Freestyle thin bed drain.
One of your newer drains.
Yeah, one of our newer drains. Yep. As you can see, the drain is only a 1/2 inch profile. So you just go directly to substrate and you'll start at a 1/2 inch and then slope from there.
Okay.
It has a clamping ring. We know in the industry that a clamping ring is a bulletproof seal between your membrane and your drain.
Gives it that tight connection.
It does.
Yeah.
Not only are we going to chemically seal it, but we're also going to mechanically seal it.
Okay.
It has internal weep.
Okay.
In here. Okay, so you don't have to worry about any of the weep protection and go around that at all. So,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It has a socket weld.
Okay. Standard 2-inch pipe.
Standard 2-inch pipe. Yep. No Fernco fitting, and they're just PVC or ABS glue, depending on the code, and glue the fitting to that.
Okay.
It also has a very high quality brass strainer that comes in 5 different finishes, which is oil rub bronze, brushed nickel, chrome, flat black, and golden nickel.
That's not a piece of stamped tin.
It's not a piece of stamped tin. Nope.
It looks nice.
Also, it screws into your drain body. So you don't have to worry about orientating your drain body as you apply it to your substrate. You just turn your drain your strainer to the orientation of your tile, whether you want to go diagonal or straight.
Yep, and if you step on it, it's not going to crush down on you.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yep. So I've identified my drain area, which is going to be center in this case, and my floor joist is not interfering with my rough-in plumbing. So first of all, you're going to want to cut your stub for your out of your trap to 1 3/4 inches below your substrate, top of your substrate.
Right. That's for this drain.
That's for this our drain. Yep. So I confirm that is cut, ready to go.
So
I'll use then PV.
1 3/4 inch below the substrate, or from the top of the pipe to the top of the substrate.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Apply my PVC primer and then glue.
Yep.
And then just simply push that down.
Okay.
Now I'll lock it down into place with using 4 screws. Take a level, just confirm that that's level.
Yep.
And
And
now my strainer will be level.
Yeah, it's secured down to that substrate now, so
Secured
it's not
down to the
going
substrate.
anywhere.
Yep. Mhm.
Nice, nice.
So from there, we're ready to install our base.
Okay, let's see that.
So today's demonstration, we're going to be using our ProBase II multi-slope pre-made base.
Okay.
It is a honeycomb and foam construction.
Okay.
We know in the industry, a lot of those competitors are foam.
Right.
Okay, and you can just simply dent it with that 3-pound foam.
Right.
So you have to be very careful the size tile you use. May have to use epoxy mortars or grouts for those. Okay? We've actually applied a 1/4 inch of honeycomb structure to the top of our base.
That adds a lot of strength.
It does. It adds a 235 PSI compression strength to the top of the base.
What was the foam only, 3-pound?
Foam only is around 35 to 80 PSI.
Wow, so you've added a lot to it.
A lot to it. So like I said, we don't care what size tile, penny rounds, pebbles, whatever. Don't have to worry about epoxy mortars.
What about walking on it with your boots on?
Oh, you're not going to dent it at all.
Great. That's one of the issues you always hear about.
One of the issues, yes. Yeah, you get that dent in it, get that little bird bath in it.
Yeah.
And you can't get that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Once the membrane's applied.
Nice.
Okay. It's very easy to install. You simply just use a straight edge, a knife, you cut it, snap it.
Just like you would backboards, go and snap.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So first of all, we're going to pre-measure and pre-cut, dry fit it, make sure that it lines up with the drain properly, and we've got a little bit of gap around our perimeter. Don't want it too tight.
Yep, expansion, contraction.
Yep. Now this 3260 comes in 2 pieces. And
okay. That flushes out perfect.
All flushes out perfect to that drain.
Yep. You would think you designed it around the drain.
You would think so.
You would.
So this base will be then bonded down to the substrate by using modified thin set.
Just any latex modified meeting to 118.4 standard.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
So now that I've confirmed that my fit is ready to go, I'll go ahead and I'll bond that down my modified thin set. Now we'll show how to do that in our next segment.
Okay, but you would just basically bond it down with a latex thin set back by to the side like you would large format tiles.
Yep.
Step it in.
Step it in. Yep.
Oh,
pretty
straightforward.
Yep. And then that's ready for the waterproofing on the top of that.
What about the transition out here?
So just with our 3260, it's 1 1/4 inch tall at the perimeter.
Okay.
Okay. So you're going to have to either build up your dry space with either mud or backerboard to get a nice smooth transition, or you can use Noble's new barrier-free ramp.
Nice.
Yeah. Again, this ramp is made out of the 3-pound foam with a 1/4 inch honeycomb on top of that. And we pre-applied the value seal waterproofing to the top of that.
Makes it easy.
Makes it easy, huh? Yep.
To transition from the wet area to the dry area, the Noble Company has introduced a barrier-free ramp. The ramp is a foam honeycomb composite, and for additional strength comes pre-waterproofed for ease of application. It is 48 inches long, 16 inches wide, the slope of 1 to 12, or approximately 8%, which meets the ADA requirements for ramps. It's easily cut with a utility knife. Let's see how that works, Dave.
Okay, so just basically butt the ramp up to your base, wherever it's flush.
Just matching height.
Match the height. Take your straight edge, take a utility knife, and then cut that down. It'll easily, cut through the honeycomb and then snap it.
Okay, so you've got one here. You've already.
I've got one here. I cut already down. So cut that down to the size that I need, and then just then set that in.
Flush is perfect out. So you basically cut off the fat.
Cut off that. Yep.
Perfect.
Now I have a nice smooth transition.
Okay.
Now it's a 1/4 inch height out here at the dry space. You're gonna have to treat your dry space and get that ready for tile anyway. So that's why that'll come out flush with that.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's one option for you.
All right. Well, that looks easy, Dave. If we wanted to go lower with this overall installation, in other words, instead of building on top of what we currently have, we could lower this substrate down. What are we doing here? I mean, how do we get there?
So if we have a wood frame construction, your typical tongue and groove. Let me remove the drain here first.
Okay. We're basically just getting back to where we would start out.
Back to where we start, correct.
Okay, so I walk in and I see this on my floor, and I'm going, boy, I wish my shower was a little bit lower. What do I got to do?
Yeah. So I have a typical wood frame construction here, right? 3/4 inch tongue and groove flooring over top of 2x8 floor joists. It's
Yep.
fairly typical. Okay.
Okay, yep.
So with that, I can just go around my perimeter,
Okay.
cut out my subfloor, the size of my shower
Okay.
space. Okay?
Sawzall or whatever.
Sawzall,
you need
yeah,
to get in there.
skill
Yep.
saw here, go around the edge.
Yep.
Sawzall, just make sure that I cut it out, at least flush to my my backer board.
And try not to cut the joist.
Try not to cut the joists or get into wires or plumbing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
hire a professional, right?
exactly. So then I'll go ahead and I'll remove the substrate. I may want to cut it up in sections. Typically you're going to have ring shank nails. There's going to be subfloor adhesive in there, so you're going to have a little bit of challenge maybe to get that out. So it's not going to be nearly as easy as what I've got here.
Yeah, but for demonstration purposes, you've basically cut out the plywood.
I've cut out.
You're in here with a pry bar or whatever, popping this out of here.
And I've cut my substrate out.
You want me to take that from you, Dave?
Yeah, take that out.
Let me get that out of your way.
Okay. So now I've exposed all my floor joists.
Okay.
Okay. You can see the plumbing, rough-in plumbing is there.
Yep.
Now, for time purposes, I've got most of my blocking already in.
Yep.
So I'll demonstrate how I got to that point. So first of all, with my blocking, now that I've cut my substrate, my tongue and groove substrate away from my dry space, I always have to worry about the deflection here. Because with tongue and groove, when you tongue and groove all this together, it basically makes the floor all one piece of plywood. It locks it in. You don't have the deflection between your floor joists.
Right.
But I cut this out, now I've eliminated that. So I have to worry about my deflection right at between the floor joists.
Yep.
So what I've done, and I'm just doing this with wood blocking, there are other products out there, metal products that will achieve this without having to do blocking.
Yep.
They're available. But this is kind of your typical way of doing this. So my right bit here.
So these other ones, like you said, you've already done just for the time factor.
For the time factor, right.
Well, we're gonna see what you got going here. So, okay.
So as you can see, my blocking, I've got some blocking here. It's 3/4 inch below my deflection blocking that I have for my substrate. I'll just simply set it in here. Get underneath that dry space. Make sure that this blocking does not.
We have a question.
Yes.
The question is, there are other products on the market that will accommodate a reduced or lowered subfloor. Is that okay to use in this particular situation?
Dave
Exactly,
mentioned that there are some pre-manufactured products that are available. They're a good option. They're another option. Obviously, the 2x4 situation here is readily available everywhere. But yeah, there is other products.
And I understand those products will get you down to about 11/16 because there's a little bit of buildup with the metal on the top of that.
Yep.
Very close. So I've screwed that block into my dry space area, and then as you can see, I have screws in here, and I'll just kind of like toenail
them in there.
Screw that in there into my floor joists to make sure that my I have good structure, and I'm not going to get any deflection here at my.
I imagine you could do that with a nail gun.
Nail gun, sure. Yep.
So that leading edge is really just supporting that cut edge of plywood, so that if you stand there, you don't basically get any kind of deflection or weight.
Right. Because then you could get some cracked grout lines, cracked tile.
Yeah, it's almost like cross block.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that the substrate is structurally sound.
Gotcha. Yep.
So then I just go ahead and use my blocking or sisters, whatever, however you want to call that. Right. Bit here. As you can see, I use some heavy duty
lags.
Because structure screws in that. I'll get that so it's flush there.
Hold that for you.
Yeah. Lines, and then.
Don't know if I'm on your line or not, but.
Yep.
Okay.
So I've got the blocking there, and you can see where my drain is.
Yep.
I want to make sure that I have enough blocking there so I don't have any deflection around the drain area.
So you're basically going around all four sides.
Yep. I just.
Okay.
All right.
So now we've got little supports for the replacement panels.
Yep. I repeated that process all the way around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now I'm ready to drop my substrate in there. So I've cut my substrate panels the size of my open cavities there.
Yep.
And then, I typically would use some subfloor glue, screws or ring shank nails to install that. Okay. I'm just going to put a couple screws into each just to hold it down. I always like to bore my 4-inch hole to accept our drain beforehand.
Yeah, so I never do that. I like to just try to guess where it's at later. Well, see how many times I can do it with an over and under.
That's right. If you don't have any access to the plumbing from underneath, you're guessing. Yep. Yeah. It could bite you.
Find the only knot in the 2x4.
Found the only knot. Yep.
Okay. So we've now basically just lowered this thing, essentially 3/4 of an inch. We're flushed out with the top of the joist here, and yeah.
So you always want to confirm again that you are flat and level with this. If you are, then it's ready to go for the base. Now, sometimes your floor joists may have a hump in it, or if it has a sag in it, you maybe have to sister something alongside of it, or plane that floor joist down to make sure that you have a nice flat surface.
Flat's got to be important with a pre-made basis.
And level. Yep. Or we just want to confirm, go take a straight edge across it, make sure that everything looks good, and we're good.
Okay.
So from here, we're going to add our stub.
Had to lower that since we lowered the floor.
Yep, lower the floor. Let's put the lowest one in.
Okay.
Again, our stub needs to be 1 3/4 from the substrate down to the stub.
Top of the plywood to the top of the pipe. 1 3/4 inch.
1 3/4, correct.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're ready to go ahead and actually glue the drain into place.
Right. Obviously, you would have glued the pipe into place.
Your stub would have been glued. Yep. I'll just actually put some PVC cement since it's a socket weld on the pipe, and then simply just put it in place, and then down it goes.
Obviously, you would normally use purple primer with this, but
purple primer
for the sake of me, you didn't, because I'd look like a Smurf.
Yes. Again, then we just take our 4 screws, and then we will screw that drain down.
Screw the drain back down. Yep.
Now, another advantage with this drain is, say your plumbing code requires your plumber to set your drain. This drain will set just like any ordinary, 3-piece clamping ring drain.
Right. Yep.
You give it to him, tell him where you need to have it, and he'll set it in place. You get there.
Right.
It's ready to go.
Yeah. It's got to be a very familiar looking drain to every plumber.
With a lot of the other systems, the drain is set into the base, then set into the base. So the drain, in this case, the drain goes first.
Yeah. So with that, you basically, the drain could be set already, and you just cut the base to fit the drain.
Correct.
Okay.
So now we're ready for base.
Okay.
In this demonstration, we're going to be using ProBase II multi-slope pre-waterproofed base.
Different color.
Different color. Yes, it is. Okay. It has the value seal pre-applied to it. Again, there's 2 pieces of ProBase II, the same foam honeycomb composite construction, so it has that same 235 psi compression strength to it. But we've pre-applied the value seal already to the base.
Right. Yeah. It's incredibly strong.
It is. Okay. So again, I'll pre-cut, dry fit, make sure that my system is going to fit properly before I install it. I feel that I'm gauged it fits nice and tight around the drain. So I confirm that. I'm ready to install it.
Okay.
So I'm going to use modified thin set, A1 18.4 modified thin set.
Okay. Makes it a little bit wetter than normal typically,
A
or?
little bit wetter than normal. Again, on any substrate, when you're using modified thin set, you want to worry that it's not going to flash over on you. So I typically maybe will rub a little water on it. You know, it's not too much, just so it doesn't flash over too fast.
Get the dust off the substrate.
Get the dust off the substrate. Make sure it's clean. Okay. All right. I'm ready to apply my thin set. I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch, 3/8 1/4 inch notch trowel
Okay.
to apply my thin set. Again, you would key it in just like you would any surface normally. Make sure that you get a nice bond to the substrate.
The keying is important to make sure you get it into the grain.
It is. Huh? Yep. I will directional trowel it, just like you would with tile. Make sure that way when you put the base down, all the air is going to escape.
Yep.
Make sure you get good even coverage.
And you said that drain was 3/8 of an inch at around the flange there?
It's 1/2 of an inch.
Half of an inch.
Half
okay.
an inch, huh?
This has got to be the most exciting part for.
This is the most exciting. Yes, it is.
So that the drain was newer this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we came out with that beginning of the last year.
Yeah, but it's about a little over a year old.
A little over a year old, yeah.
That's got a lot of popularity. I've talked to a lot of the installers that's used it, and they said it's one of the easiest drains they've ever used as far as a thin bed method.
Right. Yep. You're just burning that in there.
Burning in, yep. Okay. Make sure.
Okay.
Good coverage. Good. Make sure you. Okay.
I think for the purposes of demonstrations here, everybody got the point.
So before you're going to drop your base in, I will burn or key in modified thin set to my foam base, just to make sure that I have a good bond.
Pretty common mistake a lot of people make with some of these
exactly
other bases or large tiles. They don't key that in there, and they're really just kind of hovering over the thin set, and they're not really stuck into it. It just kind of closes off all those pores and really improves the strength of the overall system.
Exactly. Yep. Make sure I don't have a dust bond either.
Yep. And it doesn't take a lot. Just
doesn't take a lot. Just enough, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'll just hold this up on the side.
Can I hold that for you? Or?
I got her.
Didn't necessarily want to get my hands dirty anyhow. Okay. So again, that's just a latex modified thin set mortar meeting 118.4 or better. Thin set
mortar, correct. Yep. Okay, good enough for. Now, before I drop the base in, I want to also use our sealant, our 250 sealant, to tie in our drain. Okay. So I'm gonna take clamping ring off. Careful. Stuff something down the drain so you don't drop the screws down in the drain hole.
Drop the screw to the bit down there. How'd you go about getting those out down?
Well, everything's stainless, so magnet doesn't work too well.
I'll say, considering this is only mock-up, I think it'd fall right to the floor.
So our 250 sealant, that's what we're going to use to bond the membrane to the drain body and also the clamping ring.
Yep.
So now, a little bit about our 250 sealant. So it's a moisture cure sealant. Okay. If you choose to use the sealant as your seam sealer and install your corners,
Mm-hmm.
you can immediately flood test with
Okay.
this. Yep. That's an option for you if you want to flood test that same day, instead of using modified thin set to do all your seam sealing.
Right.
You can still bond your membrane down and everything with a modified thin set, but then just do
Yep.
your seam sealing with 250 sealant.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, so if you do this right, all the water is supposed to end up here.
that's correct. Okay,
So you gotta put it in the right direction.
put it in the right direction. Get it in. Drop that in. Wipe off my hands.
What are you wiping your hands with, Dave?
Tub of towels.
Tub of towels.
Yes.
That's a great product.
It is a great product.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a little.
Takes off the sealant off your hands, your thin set.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This commercial was brought to you by.
Okay, all right. So I'll make sure it's embedded properly.
You can walk on it.
I can walk right on top of that and do my little Irish jig on top if I want to. And
Yeah, with that honeycomb,
yeah,
you're not going to damage it.
I'm not going to damage it. Make sure that's embedded properly. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sure that it's embedded. I'm going to tie my membrane into my drain.
Okay.
Take our clamping ring. Okay. Identify where the holes are for your, you could feel it, or
Yep.
if you wanted to leave the screws in and then cut them out,
'em out.
out like you would a pan liner,
Yep.
that's fine too. Yep. So found where my first screw is. I'm just going to go ahead and now, if you use an impact, just be careful you don't over tight. Okay, get my second one in. You see, I just snugged them.
Snug them down tight, yeah.
Yep. These other two, the screw will just pop right through the membrane.
Yeah, with movement or anything like that, you don't worry about that membrane shearing loose, or it's mechanically connected in there.
It's mechanically connected.
Yep.
Okay. From there, then I will my knife.
Lost your knife?
Lost my knife.
How big a one you need?
I just need a knife. I had one on me. That'll work.
That one will work?
That one will work.
Yeah. I want a deposit.
Never have all the tools you need handy, right? We need it, right? So then I'll just cut out the excess membrane, follow the ring around there, and then cut that out. You should sharpen your knife, Eric.
I know it.
You really should sharpen that knife.
Yeah, there you go. Got it.
Got it. So now we're tied in.
Only had 3 months to plan this.
Yeah,
And it's nice.
Hey, can't remember everything all the time. Okay, so now the base is installed.
Okay.
So
Base is installed,
base
pretty
installed, yep,
waterproof,
yep.
everything's sloping to the drain.
Slope into the drain. At this point, I only have about 3/8 of an inch of this base to maybe 3/4.
Right, yep.
Yep, or to 1/2 inch from the base to the dry space.
Yep.
So in this case, you feather that out. You can build up your dry space with say a 1/2 inch backer board.
Right.
The whole thing. Now you don't have a lot of buildup. So what we're going to do, instead of using the shim, since I only have 1/2 inch at the most, I'm just going to go ahead and put backer board down.
Yep.
So I'll just go ahead and put a 1/2 inch backer board.
Just happens to flush out perfect with
Yep.
it.
Get that over here, little square there. Okay. Just butt it up to it, as you can see.
Okay.
Just put a few screws in it for demonstration purposes, but
Yeah, that's flush it out nice. Obviously, if we were doing this for real, we'd have, both glued and screwed this board into place.
yeah, I would thin set it down
Yeah,
and
thin set, yeah.
put my screws by,
Yeah.
Go by your manufacturer's instructions as far as how many screws, your screw pattern, and everything there. Yep,
I just don't want anybody to think that we're doing it all wrong.
exactly. So now I have my basin, I have my dry space, nice transition to
Yep.
this. So I'm ready for my waterproofing to my dry space and all my upturns
Mhm.
for my base. So on my dry space here, again, I'll use my same modified thin set. I'll just put a say 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch V-notch trowel, depending on the
Yep.
you know the backer board that you're using.
Yep, and obviously, if you didn't want to do this with the board, you could do it with, like I said, with the ramp. You could probably do it with a patching compound that would go from whatever thickness down to essentially nothing.
Yes.
So there'd probably be a lot of potential ways to transition.
Yes,
out of
there's
this.
a lot of different ways. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. This case, we're just going to go ahead and
And just troweling it in.
trowel it in. Yep. Directional trowel it again, so you can work your air out.
Yep.
Now, the membrane, I'm going to use value seal membrane in my dry space, but I also want to transition that out to my base. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a couple inches out into there. You know, just
So I always
do
think
that.
a lot of these jobs, by the time you go a little bit out of the shower, you might as well do the whole bathroom area.
Well, exactly.
You know, just, you know, in this case, it also would offer crack isolation.
Yes. Make sure it's rolled in nice and even. Okay. Now, you notice here with my knee walls or wing walls here, if I'm going to have a, say, a tile cove base, you'd like to waterproof that area out there because you know that area is always problematic.
And especially
Water
drywall.
migration. That's drywall right there.
Yep.
So I'll put a little thin set right there. And then I pre-folded my membrane to fit. Dry fitted that. And then I will then just apply my value seal. As you see, I'm going 2 inches in to the shower to overlap onto the shower base. I've got a small upturn, 2-inch upturn on my drywall here. Okay. And from there, I'll go ahead and I'll just use the flat side of a trowel, a roller, and then just tool it in. So
you can see the trowel marks.
You can see the trowel marks in there right now, right? But as I tool that in, they disappear. So I'm getting 100% coverage on that. That's a great thing about value seal. It's translucent. So it's going to show you the transfer and how much coverage that you have. So ideally, you won't see any trowel marks at all.
Yeah, I don't know if they can see that on the camera or not, but the trowel marks are what almost looks like shadowing. As Dave's embedding, it's just disappearing as he's, you know, knocking down the ridges.
If I have a spot that I can see right here, make sure that you just tool it in. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll take my margin trowel. I'll tool in my little wing walls here to that. And I'll tool in my 2-inch overlap into my dry space. So, to create a, you know, a shingled overlap seam. Just remove the excess. Simple as that.
Nice.
Okay. Now from here, I'm ready to do my transition from my base to my walls.
Off the walls,
So first of all, I'll use our thin line corners. Got 2 outside, 2 inside corners. So I'll place my outside or inside corners in first. Simply just some modified thin set in the corner. Don't be shy with it. Make sure you have plenty of coverage. Just place the corner in and then tool that out. Make sure that you see the thin set coming out of all the leading edges of the corner and make sure that you have a 100% coverage. Okay?
You could also do that corner with a 250.
You could do that corner with a 250. Don't worry about the thin set on top of the corner at all. Just clean up the excess, make sure it's tucked in tight, and then you'll repeat that process
All the way around.
all the way around the other corners. Okay. So
what are you doing for the outside corner over here?
So the outside corner, go ahead and put it on the other end here. Well, you're going to make that transition from the dry space to, you're going to just use that outside corner right here. Okay. Again, you'll just put modified thin set. You can put it on the corner or the base, doesn't really matter which way you want to do that. Okay. Make sure I have plenty there. And just place the outside corner here. And again, just tool it in.
Yep. Just nice firm pressure.
Yep, nice firm pressure. Yep, don't rub out too hard. You're just make sure that it's embedded in properly. Get rid of the excess. Yep.
Just like that.
Just like that, right?
Okay.
And then now once we get our corners in, then we can go ahead. I'll put another corner over here, and then I'll put a cap strip on.
Okay. Nice and tight in there, yep.
Make sure it's embedded properly, you got proper coverage. Yep. Tucked in tight. All right, then I'm ready to go ahead and use cap strips.
Okay, yep.
So a couple different ways to do that. You can use cap strips. You can put your wall membrane on, lap down onto the base. If you're using aqua blue, you can put cap strip, transition to the cap strip, or you can bring the aqua blue and lap down onto the base too.
So you really have a lot of choices on how you want to transition.
Exactly, a lot of different options on that. Correct.
Yep.
So the cap strip, we're just going to put a layer of thin set on.
I'm looking at your cap stripper. That's a product that the Noble Company sells, 5 inches wide, comes on a roll.
Comes on a roll, yep.
You could cut off a big piece if you wanted to.
You could, exactly, yep. Now I'll fold the cap strip since Value Seal holds the fold.
Right.
You can see, it's a little easier to fold it.
Give it a nice tight 90 in there.
Yep, tight 90 in there. I put a 45 in my corner, so I'm not overlapping the back wall over that to add build up to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I'll just tool that in. Make sure that I have my proper coverage in there. Tool it out. As you can see, it's going to just ooze out the side there. Yep. If I don't, I just, if I don't have enough, I'll just pick it up and I'll just add some more to it. That's all.
And with this membrane being a little bit stiff,
there is a question.
You can really pull on that without it
Yes, we have a question.
We have a question.
Okay.
Installing the cap strips is not required to use a V-notch? That's the question.
Installing the cap
Not
strips
really,
is
no.
required to use a V-notch.
No, not really. You see how tight that I'm tooling that in? Not
Yeah.
really. Yep.
You could if you wanted to, but
Sure, you could, you want to do, there's a V-notch margin trowel. I like using a margin trowel. It's just my tool of choice when I'm doing this. I'm not getting a 4-inch wide V-notch to do a 2-inch
a
up
little bit easier to work.
upturn. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And the value seal, you can see the coverage on that.
Right.
I mean, just to peel it back, just to look, and you can see a lot of coverage. Now I got a spot there that maybe is a little light. Just simply apply some in.
Throw some in there. Yep.
Tool it in. But you'll want to make sure at the end of your assembly here that you check everything, make sure everything is tucked in tight.
Yep.
And then you have plenty of coverage before it cures up.
Yep.
Now, then you're, like say I'm a little bit thin out here, I could tell, put a little bit there, tool it in. Now, once you get that, has that assembly done, you let it sit overnight, you're ready for a flood test.
Right. Okay. It's looking good to me. I think we pretty well got that wrapped up there, Dave.
Yeah.
The one thing that's a certainty is that no matter what size base you have, you'll
Mhm.
never have the right
Yeah.
size.
Right.
It seems like all these presentations that normally you would see, they're always showing standard size finishes or bases, but we know that not all showers are created equal, and the size and configurations might vary. So the Noble Company has introduced the 72-hour program. The bases are available in either foam bases or the honeycomb composite. We have shown you today. The program is based on the sizing, which falls into a range of 72 inches by 72 inches. We also know that these days showers are getting larger than that. So we do offer a unique selection form, which is used for those sizes or configurations which fall out of our standard parameters. We will evaluate your production, or excuse me, we will evaluate our production process on these requests and respond back to you with a price and lead time within 72 hours. You can go to our website to get the selection form and fill it out. Then work with your local distributor to get the price on selection. Once submitted with a purchase order, we will produce and ship the base within 72 hours. Selection pads are also available to help you lay out the desired information. Just contact the Noble Company or your local distributor for more information.
Okay. So
we have one more question that came in. Are the base walls cement board?
it can be. Any approved backer board can be used with this, whether it's a foam board, cement board, your hardy backer type of board. Yes. So.
Yep.
So we're talking about the framing and the recess over there. One thing I did want to touch on, you've seen the typical dimensional lumber, 2x8s, 2x10s,
Right.
Floor joists. So if you have a case where you have BCIs, I-joists,
Yep.
okay, so a little bit different installation. So with I-joists, you're going to have to use a blocking in here, okay? As
Yep.
you can see, I have blocking. I've sandwiched it in between my bottom and top structural
Right.
on that,
You
on the
can't
web.
just toenail in
You
there.
can't just toenail there. You don't want to screw into those I-joists with a structural screw. You start splitting that, now you got issues,
Yep,
okay?
yep.
There really isn't enough area to do
Right.
that. So as you see, I got blocking sandwiched in. I did it on the other side too.
Okay.
And then I used my structural screws and put my blocking onto my,
So you've
on the
really,
blocking of my webs.
you've really simply filled out the gap between the two,
I have, yep.
between the eyes,
Right,
essentially.
typically a 3/4 inch.
Yep.
Plywood or 1 by whatever works well with that
Flush
I-joist.
that out. Okay.
Yep. Trusses, you may have to do the same thing, put some blocking on some trusses, because you can have a 2x4, typically top and bottom.
Right.
Doesn't leave you a lot of room there.
Right.
So just put some blocking in between
Yep.
there too.
Yep.
Same
Okay.
thing.
So, I mean, the linear drains becoming really, really popular. We're seeing a lot of those being installed. I know that Noble Company's got a linear drain. Let's take a look at this, and it's a little bit different, I guess.
A little bit different, yeah. So in this case, my floor joists are running parallel with my shower.
Right.
Okay. So that with the Noble Company thin bed drain, or sorry, freestyle linear drain, our freestyle linear drain has a 3.5 inch body on that, but it also has this 3/8 tall lips around that edge.
Which are really supportive.
They're really supportive, yes.
Right.
They'll support the whole drain. So if I have the opportunity to have them parallel, I can actually cut that 3.5 inch by whatever length the drain is and just simply drop the freestyle linear drain
So
right in.
it's being
It's
supported by
still,
the flange or the wings?
yes,
or,
there's no extra structure that you have to put under the drain.
Right.
Now, if you cut that substrate out, you may have to do some blocking to make sure that you're not going to have deflection in your substrate, just like we talked about in the previous.
Right, which is easy enough to do running
Which
this
is,
direction.
sure, which is easy enough to do there. Yep.
Yep.
You put that in before you put your substrate.
Okay.
In. Yep.
All right.
So then if it's flat and level, you'll just put your screws in there, lock your drain down. And you see in this installation, I have basically 32 inch deep. So I'll just use, there's mud by companies that as mud that you can mix, and it'll go from 0 to 2 if you want. So you feather from here out to here to your dry space, and then treat your dry space if you are a little higher, just like you've seen previously.
Right. Obviously, with this installation you have here, this is my high point.
That's your high
Everything's
point.
sloping down.
Everything's
Well, if
going
I
down.
remove this drain and put it over to the low point, that probably creates some other opportunities.
It does. So if you want to have the drain at the entrance of the shower, my suggestion is whatever, if you're going to have it at the entrance of the shower, you're going to want to get a drain that is close as you can to the whole width of the shower.
Right.
Okay.
Keep the water.
Keep the water right there at the strainer.
Yeah.
Correct. So if you're able to put that same drop in, like you see at the back wall up front, then you'll actually have a 3/8. If you have 3/4 inch depression, you'll have 3/8 of an inch from the depression down to the drain body, and gives you a lip down.
Right.
If you're fortunate enough to be able to do that.
So yeah, you're dropping into the shower essentially.
Right. So if your floor joists are running perpendicular to your drain, then you're not going to have that opportunity to do that without cutting in the floor joists. And then again, you've got structural issues. You've got maybe on multi-units, you're going to have to get architect structural engineer involved with that. So,
We have a question.
yes.
So how would you determine whether you would want to use Chloralloy or PVC versus TS or value seal, and what helps make that decision?
Okay. So the problem with using a pan liner, correct? First of all, you've got to have a 1/4 inch per foot pre-slope. You're taking up height. Then you're going to put a pan liner on that, and then you're going to have a mortar bed on top of that. And typically you want 1.5 inch of mortar bed on top of that.
Right.
So that doesn't work well with a 3/4 inch depression here.
So you almost double the overall thickness.
Double the overall thickness, and then you've got to transition the pan liner out to your dry space.
Right.
And then, you're going to have to use a membrane or whatever your dry space and tie into that pan liner, so you have a waterproof transition all the way out. So it's very challenging to do that.
Right. Right.
So the thin bed method, or the bonded membrane method, and especially with our base, works much easier to achieve that.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to have a 3 inch or a 2.5 inch depression to be able to achieve that with a pan liner.
To bring it back up. Yeah.
To bring it back up.
Okay. Okay.
So we talked about, okay, say your floor joists are running perpendicular to drain now. You're not going to be able to drop your drain body down into your substrate, but I still have a 3/4 inch depression.
Right.
Okay. So now that I have 1 1/4 inch height drain and I have a 3/4 inch depression, that's going to give me a 1/2 inch from my drain body to my dry space.
Yep.
Okay. So that's easy to work with as far as getting that transition, like you've seen over at the other demonstration.
Right.
So first of all, I'll place my drain. I'll determine where my plumbing is, tie in my plumbing. Now, talking about plumbing, as you can see with our freestyle drain, this particular one is an offset where the drain pipe.
Standard 2-inch pipe.
Yeah, 2-inch pipe.
Yep.
We also have them in center.
Okay.
But if you have a center drain and the floor joist is right in the middle of that center, now you're in trouble. So with the offset, you'll be in the next cavity, or turn around and next cavity over, whichever works best for you.
Yeah, so it really just basically moves you over about 3 inches.
It does.
Okay.
So I'll get my drain in place, screw it down. Now, if I'm going to put this at the entrance of a shower, depression, I'll move the drain back from the entrance, because I have to be conscious if I'm going to have a door.
Right.
You don't want the door over the strainer or over top of your drain body.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So now, as far as the base goes on this, we have our ProBase II single slope.
In
It's
with
the same
honeycomb.
Honeycomb, same composite foam as you saw it previously, but this has a 1/4 inch per foot slope built into it. It's 1.25 inches height at the drain to match up to the drain, and then 1/4 inch per foot slope from there.
Right.
Okay. We have this in a 3260 kit, or we have it in a 64 by 64 kit, depending on the length, the size of your shower.
Right. Now, I heard talk from the head honcho at Noble Company that we were possibly going to be introducing a pre-waterproof one in the future. Okay.
Yes, we are very soon.
That'd be good. I mean, I'm glad Darcy's got onto that.
Yeah. I'll drive fit my base in here. Okay. And then now at the entrance of my shower, you see the gap right here.
Yep.
We have shims that come with this. So you'll just score and snap, cut the shim. They come 4.5 inches wide.
Yep.
I just cut a 1 inch shim and I stuck that right here. Modified, then set that in just like the multi-slope.
Yep.
And then now I'm going to treat my dry space.
Right.
Now again, I'm a 1/2 inch in height here. Simply take the backer board again. I put the backer board down. Now I'm flush with my height.
Right. Now, this drain, you could run this drain, depending on the situation, directly to the plate essentially, so that when my board was coming down the wall, it would really fill the gap right here. So it's almost overlapping the drain.
You can, because your strainer is about 3/4 inch back from the body.
So it really flush out almost perfect with the tile.
So you could, and then you upturn right directly. As you can see this right directly at the clamping ring.
Yep.
It's over here, and upturn just like that.
Right.
At your backer board.
Yeah. So you're not soldering anything in there or hiding anything, and just.
So your strainer's going end to end. There's no tile in between.
Yep.
That's all drainage.
And I imagine you can do the same with the back wall.
Do the same with the back wall.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. So as you can see with this up here, that it has a clamping ring. And now this is just a 1/2 clamping ring, just for illustration purposes. So again, we'll chemically and mechanically seal the membrane to the drain.
Yep.
Again, it's a bulletproof installation.
Yep. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Okay. I think that pretty much covers all that. If you've joined us for any of our past webinars, you know it's been a busy year here at the Noble Company. We have introduced several new products, such as the ProBase II multi-slope, the thin bed drain, a liquid applied waterproofing membrane, aqua blue. To add to that list, we are happy to introduce an economically priced alternative to our linear drains. The Solutions drain is made from ABS. It is available in 7 sizes ranging from 24 to 36 inches. The interior of the drain is sloped towards the center drain waste. It is available in 3 strainer styles: triangle, slotted, or a tile in, as well as being available in 4 finishes: chrome, stainless steel, oil rubbed bronze, and of course flat black. Like all Noble Company shower products, it is listed with plumbing codes for use. It can be installed in both a thin bed or full mortar bed application. I think that pretty much brings it to a close. I thank everybody for your time. I know we're doing pretty well with time, Dave. I don't know if there's any last minute questions that came in or anything else. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good here. I guess with all that said, I don't know if there's anything else you want to throw in there to kind of wrap this up, Dave. I know we're going to give something away.
Yeah, we're going to give a 38 by 38 ProBase II waterproof base kit.
Okay.
Or a 48 by 48.
So the other choice.
Have a choice.
Okay.
That will come with the free waterproof base. It'll come with the membrane enough to do the walls, your thin line corner combo kit, also the sealant to tie into the drain.
Yeah.
Also with that, you have a choice of an ABS or a PVC freestyle thin bed drain.
Okay.
And the strainer color of your choice.
So really everything you need to do the whole shower,
everything you need to
tile
do
and
the
the
whole shower. Yep, exactly.
Okay. And as well as coming with the ramp.
As well as coming around.
Yep. So really everything you need to do a shower curbless.
Yep.
Okay, I think that does it. Let's give something away. You want to draw or you mean to draw?
Oh, I'll draw right there.
I hope you pick my name.
Dig in there. Okay. I haven't got my glasses on. So my readers. Blind, old and blind.
We need younger people here. Sean, oh boy, no wonder you couldn't read it. Sean Lenkowski, Oregon and Southwest Washington. Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Sean.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, once you get your base, feel free to give us a call. Our next webinar by popular demand is going to be on our Noble Deck exterior system. Some of you may be familiar with our Noble Deck. It's a exterior grade waterproofing membrane designed for exterior applications, hence the name.
Yep.
We're going to be building something probably in June out in the parking lot or outside here if we get a week of nice weather here in Michigan. So look forward to that. And again, thank you all very much for attending.
Thank you.